It is only Wednesday, and we have so much Ravens news to talk about.
Eddie, what did the Ravens prove in their win?
Listen, coming off of that thrilling victory versus the Cincinnati Bengals, where we won in overtime 41-38, this may have been the game of the season, also with the greatest play of all time.
Now that's how you supposed to drive. From now on, that's how you drive.
Oh, Lamar Jackson.
Now, there have been those that have doubted Lamar Jackson as a quarterback, and throughout the years, I think that he has proven without a doubt he is one of the top quarterbacks in the league.
He beat the blitz, QBR of 98 when Bengals sent extra rushers, constantly making good decisions, throwing the ball with touch and accuracy, short and intermediate parts of the field. He diced them up from inside the pocket.
Because of what he did in this last game, going toe-to-toe with Joe Burrow, I think people are starting to take notice. Some of his detractors are starting to stand down a little bit because he is proving that he is one of the elite quarterbacks in this league.
I mean, Lamar Jackson did all the things that for years people who don't watch him say he can't do. He consistently threw from behind.
Every single year, Lamar has taken a step further and further into proving his greatness, and this season is no different. Lamar Jackson is completing 65.3% of his passes for 1,206 yards with 9 touchdowns to go with 1 interception. He also has a 107.2 QB rating, which shows you he is at the top of the league. Now, with this being a league year where offense has been struggling game in and game out, the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson are on a whole nother level. And as of right now, the Ravens are second in the league in points per game and first in the league in yardage. A lot of that has to do with Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry gets most of his yardage with the threat of Lamar in the backfield. And if the offense can continue at this pace, there is no stopping the Ravens from making the Super Bowl, especially with the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs looking as vulnerable as they do. Yes, they are undefeated, and yes, they are winning games, but they look extremely beatable. They do not look like the same team that played in Week 1. Injuries have ravaged their team. Patrick Mahomes is not playing like Patrick Mahomes. And this is one thing that is not being talked about a lot. Some of the top QBs in the league are struggling, but you know who isn't?
I know that ain't who I think it is.
Lamar Jackson. You got that right. All we need is for the Ravens to stay the course and continue doing exactly what they are doing. And speaking about this, they were talking to Bill Belichick the other day, and he asked them about the Baltimore Ravens, and he said, the only thing stopping the Baltimore Ravens is the Baltimore Ravens. And when I thought about it for a minute, I'm like, you know what? I can totally see where he's going with this point. The only thing that has stopped us in the past from actually winning that chip was going away from our identity, or what we believe to be our identity, and doing other things. If we stay the course, we shall be all right. Stop trying to prove that you are an offensive mastermind. Stop trying to prove that Lamar Jackson is one of the top passers. Just roll with your offense. And I think that this team will be okay from that. But the one thing that isn't okay with this team is the defensive side of the ball. Coming into the season, with some of the losses that we had, we thought that the Ravens may take a step back from their #1 overall defense from last season, but we never suspected that it would look anything like it does right now. And most notably, those struggles are coming from the defensive backfield. For some reason, the Ravens are 31st in passing yards allowed. Now, we had this problem with Mike McDonald for a little bit. He got it together. Hopefully, we can do the same. Hopefully, there can be some changes made and some adjustments, and the Ravens can get back to being one of the better defenses in the league. But if they do not, we need the Baltimore Ravens offense to carry the load. This is why we've always said to you, stop investing in defenses, because a lot of these offenses nowadays are pretty hard to stop, no matter how great your defense is. If you can outscore them, if you can keep them off the field, this is what's going to win you games in the NFL today. But as of right now, this is not happening. So yesterday, the New York Jets head coach Robert Saleh was fired, and I thought to myself, he did a pretty damn good job in San Francisco during his 4 years there as the defensive coordinator. He got the most out of Fred Warner. He got the most out of Dre Greenlaw. Why not bring him in, see what he can do with Roquan Smith because he needs a little bit of help right now, and see if he can help further the development of Trenton Simpson. Salah being a former linebackers coach, that is his specialty, but his defenses were pretty damn good. And if he could have been a senior advisor to Zach Orr, I thought that would have helped out immensely. But to my surprise, as of today, the Ravens went in a whole nother direction. They decided that they were going to bring back former defensive coordinator Dean Pease. Yes, that Swiss Dean Pease, to come help run this defense. I do not know what it is, or shall I say, I think John Harbaugh had a hand in this, because to me, John Harbaugh is one of the few coaches in this league that likes to bring in older, more senior staff. Now today we have some of the best minds and some of the best whiz kids out there, but he's going to bring back an old guy that struggled, that we fired because he wasn't doing his job, to help Zach Orr out. But I'm guessing that beggars cannot be choosers, because as of this week, the Ravens are 26 with points scored against and 19th in yards allowed. So the defense is not the one that used to bend but don't break. They just break and break some more. So bringing in another defensive mind, it has to help. But I just thought that maybe, just maybe, with Robert Saleh being out there, he could bring his defensive experience over here and help Zach Orr out. But the Ravens decided to go in another direction. And speaking of going in another direction, I had hopes, I had dreams. Listen, I knew that it wasn't a real strong possibility, but I was just hoping that the Baltimore Ravens would go out there and trade for Davante Adams. But today the news came that the Ravens are one of the teams that are not interested in Davante Adams at all. Just put out a tweet yesterday talking about, do not kill my dreams. And the Baltimore Ravens must have read it and said, you know what? Screw that guy. Pow!
Hey now, don't dream it's over.
So I guess for right now, the Baltimore Ravens are content with what they have going forward. To me, I just think the big three of Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and Davante Adams, teams would not know which way we were going to hit them. And if the defense continued to falter into the playoffs, the Ravens would be a little bit unstoppable. If we ran into situations where Lamar had to pass throughout the playoffs, he had that one guy he could get the ball to and know, no matter what happens, it's my guy or it's no play whatsoever. So there's that. So now we fast forward and we start to move into the Washington Commanders week. The Baltimore Ravens, with the Battle of the Beltway, playing that DC team. They have a couple of injuries going forward for that game. Today, Marlon Humphrey missed practice, Rashad Bateman missed practice, and Ronnie Stanley. Also, we thought something may have been wrong because the Ravens did bring Pepe Williams back to the practice squad. And they also elevated Kadar Holman from the practice squad to the 53-man roster. So that let us know something was going wrong. And maybe Arthur Millette, who is slated to be able to return, is not ready to play. So one of the defenders that was actually doing a pretty good job may not be in this game. And we may need him because the Ravens are going up against the rookie phenom in Jaden Daniels. And yes, the Heisman Trophy winning phenomenal rookie quarterback is doing his thing, but I think things are getting a little bit premature where they're going and comparing him to Lamar Jackson. Let that young man make it through at least one full season before you start to compare him with someone else. It is so bad you have even people in his own division saying that he's going to come in here and do Lamar type things and tear the Ravens apart.
And I want to tear you apart, and your friend too.
And my thoughts to that was, listen, Dallas Cowboys, Lamar already showed you who he was. Let sleeping dogs lie. We already didn't put y'all to sleep. Just stay in your corner and stay in your place. And as for Jalen Daniels, I like the kid, but I do not think that he is on Lamar's level. Now, you can compare him to somebody that may be in his first, second, or third year and say, yes, this young man is doing pretty darn well. But to compare him to a two-time MVP after only 5 games played, to me is really insane. So for this upcoming game, let's hope that the Baltimore Ravens in the secondary, the defensive front, can shut this team down because they do look explosive offensively. And there was a 4-game stretch where the Commanders did not punt the ball. And I think until last week when Jaden Daniels threw an interception, that was the first time they hadn't punted in a while. So this offense is very explosive. They have the key pieces at wide receiver. You have Scary Terry that you have to account for. They have the running backs. They got Brian Robinson. They went out and got Austin Eckler. So they have skill guys that can get it done. and they have an offensive coordinator that knows how to utilize the talent. But to me, most telling is going to be Dan Quinn, the head coach, and his imprint on this defense. Will he be able to devise a scheme that can kind of slow the Ravens' run game and Lamar Jackson down? That we will see. And this may be something that I will come out with and make a video on, previewing this game later on in the week. Because for all of you that know me, you know that I damn sure hate the Washington Commanders. Washington Commanders, that's their name. I do not like them. When I first started football, the first team that I ever saw was the Washington Skins. And I looked and said, for some reason, I don't like that team. And I have hated them ever since. Even when the Baltimore Ravens did not have a team and all they showed were DC games on my TV each and every week, I refused to watch them. Can't get with the team. I couldn't get with the colors. I don't know what it is about this organization. I just don't like them. So I need for the Baltimore Ravens to go out there and represent the city, represent the fan base, and come away with the dub. Because I'm telling you right now, I do not want to hear anything from Commodore fans. I don't know which one of them is Lionel Richie, but it doesn't matter. I don't want to hear anything else from their fan base because they are starting to smell themselves. And I understand you're 4-1, leading your division, you're doing your thing. But let's not forget, for decades, you were worthless.
Nah, man, I'm cool.